Brave New World, Chapter 10. The hands of all the 4,000 electric clocks in all the Bloomsbury Center's 4,000 rooms marked 27 minutes past 2. This hive of industry, as the director was fond of calling it, was in the full buzz of work. Everyone was busy, everything in ordered motion. Under the microscopes, their long tails furiously lashing, spermatozoa were burrowing headfirst into eggs, and fertilized, the eggs were expanding, dividing, or if Volcanovskified, budding and breaking up into whole populations of separate embryos. From the social predestination room, the escalators went rumbling down into the basement, and there, in the crimson darkness, stewing warm on their cushion of peritoneum and gorged with blood surrogate and hormones, the fetuses grew and grew, or poisoned, languished into a stunted epsilonhood. With a faint hum and rattle, the moving racks crawled imperceptibly through the weeks, and the recapitulated aeons, to where, in the decanting room, the newly unbottled babes uttered their first yell of horror and amazement. The dynamos purred in the sub-basement. The lifts rushed up and down. On all the 11 floors of nurseries, it was feeding time. From 1,800 bottles, 1,800 carefully labeled infants were simultaneously suckling down their pint of pasteurized external secretion. Above them, in 10 successive layers of dormitory, the little boys and girls who were still young enough to need an afternoon sleep were as busy as everyone else, though they did not know it, listening unconsciously to hypnopedic lessons in hygiene and sociability, in class consciousness, and the toddler's love life. Above these again were the playrooms where, the weather having turned to rain, 900 older children were amusing themselves with bricks and clay modeling, Hunt the Zipper, and erotic play. Buzz, buzz! The hive was humming, busily, joyfully. Blithe was the singing of the young girls over their test tubes. The predestinators whistled as they worked, and in the decanting room, what glorious jokes were cracked above the empty bottles. But the director's face, as he entered the fertilizing room with Henry Foster, was grave, wooden with severity.
A public example, he was saying, in this room, because it contains more high-caste workers than any other in the center. I have told him to meet me here at 2:30.
He does his work very well, put in Henry, with hypocritical generosity.
I know, but that's all the more reason for severity. His intellectual eminence carries with it corresponding moral responsibilities. The greater a man's talents, the greater his power to lead astray. It is better that one should suffer than that many should be corrupted. Consider the matter dispassionately, Mr. Foster, and you will see that no offense is so heinous as unorthodoxy of behavior. Murder kills only the individual, and after all, what is an individual?
With a sweeping gesture, he indicated the rows of microscopes, the test tubes, the incubators.
We can make a new one with the greatest ease. As many as we like. Unorthodoxy threatens more than the life of a mere individual. It strikes at society itself. Yes, at society itself, he repeated. Ah, but here he comes.
Bernard had entered the room and was advancing between the rows of fertilizers towards them. A veneer of jaunty self-confidence thinly concealed his nervousness. The voice in which he said, "Good morning, Director," was absurdly too loud. That in which, correcting his mistake, he said, "You asked me to come and speak to you here." Ridiculously soft, a squeak.
Yes, Mr. Marks,
said the director portentously.
I did ask you to come to me here. You returned from your holiday last night, I understand?
Yes, Bernard answered.
Yes, repeated the director, lingering, a serpent on the S.
Then suddenly raising his voice,
Ladies and gentlemen, he trumpeted. Ladies and gentlemen.
the singing of the girls over their test tubes, the, the preoccupied whistling of the microscopists suddenly ceased. There was a profound silence. Everyone looked around.
Ladies and gentlemen, the director repeated once more. Excuse me for thus interrupting your labors. A painful duty constrains me. The security and stability of society are in danger. Yes, in danger, ladies and gentlemen. This man,
He pointed accusingly at Bernard.
this man who stands before you here, this Alpha Plus, to whom so much has been given, and from whom, in consequence, so much must be expected. This colleague of yours, or should I anticipate and say this ex-colleague, has grossly betrayed the trust imposed in him by his heretical views on sport and soma, by the scandalous unorthodoxy of his sex life, by his refusal to obey the teachings of our Ford and behave out of the office hours, even as a little infant.
Here the director made the sign of the T.
He has proved himself an enemy of society, a subverter, ladies and gentlemen, of all order and stability, a conspirator against civilization itself. For this reason, I propose to dismiss him with ignominy from the post he has held in this center. I propose forthwith to apply for his transference to a subcenter of the lowest order, and that his punishment may serve the best interest of society as far as possible removed from any important center of population. In Iceland, he will have small opportunity to lead others astray by his unfortunate example.
The director paused. Then, folding his arms, he turned impressively to Bernard.
Marx, he said, can you show any reason why I should not now execute the judgment passed upon you?